The film is set in 2019, a time when climate change has reached its peak. The world is no longer as it once was, with shifts in ocean currents, rising surface temperatures, and melting polar ice caps causing widespread chaos. Various regions face distinct natural disasters, including tsunamis, floods, droughts, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, typhoons. Amidst such devastation, it becomes evident that no single nation can tackle the crisis alone. The global community unites, and the United Nations launches an ambitious project to combat nature's fury. The initiative, spearheaded by the world's top scientists, results in the creation of a satellite system known as Dutch Boy. Their efforts yield a vast network of satellites linked to the Dutch Boy, designed to neutralize severe weather events. The system's chief architect, Jake Lawson, leads the team and plays a crucial role in its success. However, once the crisis subsides, a new conflict arises when the United States government attempts to seize control of Dutch Boy, claiming ownership. Jake, despite being an American, strongly opposes this move, insisting that the project belongs to the world. His refusal leads to his dismissal, and his younger brother, Max, is appointed in his place. Unbeknownst to Jake, Max had collaborated with officials to secure his removal. Furious, Jake departs, vowing never to forgive his brother. The story fast-forwards 3 years. The U.S. Army discovers an inexplicable phenomenon in Afghanistan. A previously scorching desert has turned to ice, freezing an entire tribe within seconds. Alarmed, the military reports the incident to the government. During a high-level meeting, Max encounters his fiancée, Sarah Wilson, a Secret Service agent. Inside, officials attribute the event to a malfunction in the Afghan satellite and discuss ways to suppress the information to avoid public backlash. Outraged by their disregard for human lives, Max proposes sending an engineer to the space station to investigate the issue and prevent future mishaps. The Secretary of State, Leonard Deckham, insists that Jake is the only person capable of resolving the problem. Despite his reservations, Max travels to Florida to enlist his brother's help. Jake has been living a quiet life in Florida, where his daughter, Hannah, visits him on weekends. When Max arrives, Hannah informs him that Jake has been building various machines, driven by his enduring passion for engineering. Initially skeptical, Jake finally agrees to return to the space station after being convinced that something is amiss with Dutch Boy. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, Chang Long, a supervisor in the Dutch Boy program, experiences a bizarre heat wave. He steps out to buy water and eggs, only to watch the eggs fry on the pavement due to the extreme temperatures. Moments later, an earthquake strikes, and molten lava begins to erupt from the ground. Chaos ensues as skyscrapers collapse and the city is consumed. Chang narrowly escapes by driving to a cooler area. Chang contacts Max, reporting that he has been locked out of China's Dutch Boy database. He suspects foul play and reveals that a system-wide failure of Dutch Boy could trigger a geostorm, a catastrophic chain reaction of global weather events that would devastate the planet and potentially end humanity. Max tries accessing the database but discovers that his credentials have also been revoked, confirming the system has been hacked. Chang warns Max of the looming danger, but shortly after their conversation, armed men storm Chang's office, leaving the world teetering on the brink of disaster. Chang narrowly escapes as the men storm his office, managing to hide and save his life. However, the intruder sees his laptop and all the data he had gathered about Dutch Boy's malfunctions. The following day, Max consults a cybersecurity expert, Dana, to investigate the database. She quickly discovers that someone has hacked into the system's mainframe and is erasing critical weather data. Meanwhile, aboard the space station, Jake and his team review the footage from the airlock malfunction and notice a hard drive stuck to the communication tower during the incident. Jake and Ute conduct a spacewalk to retrieve it successfully. However, Jake, mistrusting the crew, lies and claims the drive was lost in space. In secret, he and Ute examine the data and uncover evidence that the satellites over Hong Kong and Afghanistan were deliberately sabotaged. They are unable to determine the culprit or their motives. Back on Earth, Chang travels to the United States to share what he overheard from the men who broke into his office. Before he can reach Max, a stranger pushes him into oncoming traffic. Max rushes to his dying friend, who, with his final breath, utters the words Project Zeus. Soon after, Jake updates Max about the findings aboard the space station, suspecting that someone high up in the government is orchestrating the satellite malfunctions. Max teams up with Dana to dig deeper into Project Zeus and discovers it is a scheme to weaponize Dutch Boy, using its systems to target specific cities. They realize that only someone with access to the mainframe at the highest level could be behind it. Jake theorizes that a virus has been planted in Dutch Boy's system, allowing the saboteurs to control it. To eliminate the virus, the system must be rebooted, but this requires the president's authorization. Given the stakes, Jake and Max suspect the president himself might be involved, using Dutch Boy to destroy enemy nations. As Max works to secure the president's biometrics, the situation worsens. Reports of 200 satellite malfunctions pour in, an aggressive hailstorm devastates Japan, Brazil's beaches freeze, and people are caught in ice. In the space station, a geostorm alert is triggered, warning of a global catastrophe in just 90 minutes. The station's self-destruction protocol is activated to prevent it from falling to Earth. With time running out, Jake identifies Duncan, a crew member, as the person who planted the virus. A confrontation ensues, ending with Duncan being sucked into space through a broken window. On Earth, Max attends a presidential speech when Leonard Deckham, the Secretary of State, questions him about the crisis. During their conversation, Leonard slips up by referencing Project Zeus, something Max had never mentioned to him. It becomes clear that Leonard is the mastermind behind the malfunctions. He plans to frame the president for the chaos, seize power, and use Dutch Boy as a weapon. Leonard attempts to kill Max, but Max escapes and teams up with Sarah. The pair devise a plan to obtain the president's biometrics. Sarah stages a shootout, prompting the president's guards to move him to safety. She incapacitates one of them and takes the president to a car with Max, explaining the situation as they are pursued by Leonard's men. Meanwhile, massive tornadoes devastate Mumbai, and a deadly heatwave kills hundreds in Russia. Aboard the space station, all crew members evacuate except Jake and Ute, who stay behind to manually reboot the system. Max and Sarah succeed in capturing Leonard, who shows no remorse for his actions. They bring the president to mission control, where he provides his biometrics and thanks Jake for his bravery in a video call. Max, realizing his brother's sacrifice, apologizes for sending him into danger. Jake reassures Max, asking him to care for his daughter, Hannah, before rushing to reboot the system. With only seconds to spare, Jake and Ute successfully neutralize the virus, halting the geostorm and ending the global calamities. However, the space station begins to self-destruct. Stranded, Jake and Ute board an old satellite, launching into space without a destination. They watch the station explode, seemingly sealing their fate. Fortunately, a scientist at Mission Control spots their satellite and dispatches a rescue shuttle. The crew docks with the satellite, bringing Jake and Ute safely back to Earth. 6 months later, Jake is reinstated to oversee the newly rebuilt space station. He and Max mend their relationship, now stronger as brothers and colleagues. The film concludes with hope, unity, and a renewed commitment to safeguarding the planet. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of our video updates.